21 years old, and I'm nervous, and I'm excited, but I'm also scared, because I'm sitting there in my car wondering, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of all of this? And I drive up to the parking lot, and I walk inside to the venue, and as I walk inside, I notice a policeman off in the corner, and he's walking kind of funny. So I muster up some courage, and I decide to approach him. And as I do, I introduce myself, and I say, hi, my name's Kelsey. When I was 5 years old, I had a brain tumor. And when I was 15, that brain tumor came back, and I had a stroke and woke up paralyzed. And I just want to let you know that seeing you here today really inspired me. If you can do all that you're doing despite the challenges that you faced, I know I can too. And he turned to me with just the loving, kindest, most nice, sweet eyes, and what he said to me that day, I will never forget. He turned to me and he said, young lady, I just stepped in dog poop and I'm trying to get it off of my foot. My name's Kelsey Tainsh, and today I want to talk to you about perspective. I want to talk to you about the challenges we face and what we do in life when we're in that deepest, darkest hole. What do we do when we're in that deep, dark hole? And I want to let you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And what I've learned in my life is that at the end of the day, despite the challenges we face, life is pretty good. I grew up in a big family. You see, I'm actually a triplet, and I have older brother and sister who are twins. So I'm not even joking. My parents had 2 and then one more and got 3. In fact, everybody's favorite joke growing up was, what's next, quadruplets? That's not funny. But I had a big family, and this was really great because when I was just 5 years old, I started to act differently. I started to rub my eyes. I always wanted to be held, and I was running into walls and doors to the point that my head was actually starting to bleed. I have parents who were both doctors, and they realized that something was wrong, so they took me to see several doctors, all who told my parents that I was fine, just going through a phase, that nothing was wrong. But my parents, being doctors, knew that something was wrong, and they demanded I get an MRI. And there on the MRI at 5 years old was a brain tumor. At 5 years old, I was diagnosed with cancer. I underwent surgery and radiation treatment, and then my life started to get back to normal. In fact, my life wasn't just normal. My life was extraordinary. I was smart, funny, popular, pretty, and I just happened to be a world champion athlete. You see, I grew up in Orlando, Florida, where there's water everywhere. And we lived on the water. We lived on a lake. And by the time I was 13, I was ranked 3rd in the world and 2nd in the nation for girls wakeboarding. Does everybody know what wakeboarding is? Like on a boat, on a board rather, behind a boat like this? You know I look weird now, but back then I was smoking hot. I'm just saying. But it was really cool. I would travel and I would compete all over the country, and I was on top of the world. Literally, I felt like I was on top of the world. Nothing could go wrong. But then I started having seizures at school. I would get a bad taste in my mouth, and my face would turn all red, and I didn't know what was going on. But then I had another, and then I had another, and then the next day I had 2, and more and more and more. And we went to go see the doctors, and the doctors ordered an MRI, and there on the MRI was what me and my parents feared for the past 10 years. My brain tumor had come back after being gone for 10 years. I went to go have surgery and actually had surgery 10 years to the day of my first surgery. June 14th, 1996 and June 14th, 2006 by the same neurosurgeon and the same anesthesiologist in the same hospital. But things didn't go as well this time. And I woke up after surgery and I'm lying in bed, and all I hear the doctor saying to the parents is stroke. She had a stroke, she's paralyzed, she had a stroke. And I'm screaming and I'm saying, stroke? What? I couldn't have a stroke. I'm 15 years old. I'm a world champion athlete. We don't have strokes. What are they talking about? And I'm screaming, but no one can hear me. Because not only am I paralyzed, but I can't speak as well. So all those things that I'm trying to scream aren't coming out. And I found myself in the next few years going deeper and deeper into this dark, dark hole of depression and misery and self-pity, just feeling sorry for myself, not realizing that there was this beautiful, amazing world out there that I was missing out on. Have you ever felt like that? You're at work one day, you're in the office, and something goes wrong, and you're just having the worst day ever, and you think that things can't get any worse. And then you come back the next day and things are worse. And someone, I know, right? You all know exactly what I'm talking about. And you come back the next day and things are even worse, right? And then someone makes a mistake and then they end up firing somebody and you have this big project due at the end of the day and suddenly you get a call from the school saying that your son is sick and you have to go pick him up. But you can't, because if you do that project that's due at the end of the day, might not get done, and if it doesn't get done, they might fire you. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I think we all have, right? Where you just feel like you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into this dark black hole. You see, for me, it was so easy for me to sit in my self-pity and to sit in my misery and to sit in my pain, sitting on the couch with a pint of coffee, ice cream from Haagen-Dazs, and a banana nut muffin. Because I like Brene Brown. This side of the room got it. And it was so easy for me to do that with a blanket and just watch TV and not enjoy anything and just to curl up into a ball and not see this beautiful world that was out there. But I'm fortunate that I had parents and siblings and people who loved me and cared about me and made me go out in public even though I didn't want to. And eventually something clicked. And I decided, was I gonna get bitter? Or was I gonna get better? And I chose to get better. You see, if you think that you have control over things in your life, let me be the first to tell you that you're wrong. Things happen, life happens. You can call it God, you can call it fate, you can call it Fred from accounting. Things happen, life happens. We can't change that, but what we can do is we can make the most out of the situations that we're given and have a great life in spite of the challenges we face, because I found that our hardest obstacles in life actually have the most rewarding opportunities. We just don't realize it while we're going through them. So at 15 years old, at 16 years old, I finally snapped out of it. And I stayed in that wheelchair for a while, and then slowly I moved to a walker, and then to a cane. And now, not only can I walk on my own, but I'm fully independent. You know, it was less than 3 months after I had a stroke that I went back to school. And I went back to school still in a wheelchair. And you know what happened? I immediately lost all of my friends. You see, I was different. And they didn't know how to treat me. It seems as though in life, in high school, middle school, and college, and even as we go on to our jobs in the corporate world and beyond, if you don't fit in, you stand out. And boy, did I stand out. But as soon as I got out of that wheelchair, and out of that walker, and out of that cane, and I could finally walk on my own after I surpassed all those things and I could walk on my own, I realized something. If I wore sweatshirts or jackets like this, and I stuck my hand into my pocket, it was almost as if no one seemed to notice or care that I was different. And for the longest time, I kept my hand in my pocket and tried to hide my disability and my differences to fit in. What I was really doing is I was trying to hide my differences and my challenges so that other people would like me. Now, let me just be honest. I think we're all hiding something. And frankly, I think that some things are good to hide. I don't even have to continue with that one, do I? I think that some things are good to hide. Like when someone comes up to us and they ask us if the dress they're wearing makes them look fat, we probably shouldn't answer that question. Or when your employee from accounting comes up to you and says that David, who sits at the desk next to him, says that he asked too many questions, so he asks you if he asked too many questions over and over again. You probably shouldn't answer that question either. Or when you have those kind of bad thoughts about the people around you, well, you probably shouldn't share those either. We all have those. We all have those. We're all imperfect. But those things that make you you, those things that make you different and unique and special, that make you who you are, those are your good qualities. That gives you perspective, a different perspective that other people don't have. And when you hide those things from your company, the organization you work with, and your colleagues, they lose the opportunity to gain a new perspective too. They lose the opportunity to gain a new perspective, to see your gifts and your talents and abilities. Because at the end of the day, that's what you were hired for. You weren't hired just because you could type on a keyboard and had some skills. That's not what you were hired for. For me, it was once I finally took my hand out of my pocket that my life changed forever. That I learned to love who I was before I had a stroke and who I am now, even though I'm different. So let me ask you, what are you hiding in your pocket so that other people can't see what's really going on with you? You see, I believe that we're all paralyzed in some way. I am physically paralyzed. I had a stroke. I woke up paralyzed. But I believe that there's things that are paralyzing all of us. It's our limiting beliefs, the things we don't want to share with other people that we try to hide. But I have found that in life it's not, as W. Mitchell says, it's not what happens to us, it's what we do about it. And we need to focus on the things we do have and that we can do, not the things we don't have and that we can't do. After all, how many young stroke patients does it take to screw in a light bulb? One! Haven't you all been paying attention? I can do it myself! I want to leave you with one final story. You see, in college I decided that I wasn't going to let anything hold me back, so I actually studied abroad 4 times, something I was told I would never be able to do. And my senior year, I went to study abroad in Greece. And let me just tell you that if you've ever wanted to go anywhere, study abroad or just on vacation, Greece is the place to go. It wasn't a study abroad trip, it was a vacation. And I was getting ready to board the plane to go to Greece when I met Josh. Josh was tall, handsome, Southern, and just happened to be a little bit different like I was. You see, Josh lost his leg in Iraq. He was a Paralympic athlete, and he still works for the military today. His leg went down to his knee and stopped with a stump. He had no knee, he had no lower leg, he had no foot. But Josh didn't live his life focused on what he did not have. I got to know Josh over the years. In fact, we even went on a few dates. I know, he was smoking a lot too. And what I realized about Josh is that Josh didn't live his life focused on what he didn't have. You see, even with 2 crutches and only 1 full leg, he still managed to open the car door and the restaurant door for me before I could get to them. I still have no idea how. It's like there were 2 of him. Josh lived his life based on what he had and what he could do and how he could help other people. You know, I speak to Josh a lot, and every time I speak to Josh, I feel inspired, and I feel upset, and I feel like I take things for granted, you see? Because if Josh could live this great life and do so many great things despite the challenges he's faced, and on top of it, be a world champion athlete for a second time, why was I complaining? You see, Josh inspired me more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. He changed my perspective. He changed my life in ways that he may never actually fully know. You see, I believe that Josh is more alive now than he was before he got injured. Because he has gratitude and he has perspective. And he accomplishes more now than he ever did before because he made a conscious decision not to let his disability and his differences hold him back. He persevered in spite of them. And as I end with you all today, I hope that I can help you think about things a little bit differently too. Think about your challenges that you have at the office, that you have at home, that you have in your life a little bit differently. To help you realize that at the end of the day, life is pretty good. And there is this big, bright light in our life. There's this big, bright light in our life. But it's not at the end of the tunnel. It's in each and every one of you. Thank you.